Xavien Howard, the star corner for the Dolphins, has been holding in. So he showed up to camp, pretty much, pulled the same card that a lot of guys like Aaron Rodgers pulled so they wouldn't get fined, but has not been participating because he wanted a new deal. He doesn't get a new deal, but the Dolphins did make changes for him that ultimately got him in, and now he will play. So realistically, there's two things that changed here. He gets $3.5 million in potential incentives added to his 2021 year of his deal. So $1 million for a Pro Bowl or an All Pro, and then $750,000 for 70% playing time, $750,000 for hitting 80%, and then $1 million if he hits 90%. So $3.5 million in incentives for 2021, and then he also gets his salary guaranteed for 2022. It was already guaranteed for injury, but I guess really to me what this says is he gets to say I won, my dispute in that sense. But
and we'll be back here next year.
Yeah, exactly. That was the other thing. Apparently, the Dolphins agreed to reopen discussions next year on a market level deal. So we'll see. Does this move the needle for you at all?
To me, this is. I like when players bet on themselves, but this is a team-friendly opportunity, quite frankly. So it's tied to it's what Pro Bowls. A Pro Bowl appearance is incentive, first team All Pro and Pro Bowl, right? Those are things that are highly variable. I mean, he had 10 interceptions last year. Nobody had 10 interceptions since 2007 previously. JC Jackson easily could have been first team All Pro and a Pro Bowler in place of him with 9 interceptions any other year. And so to me, this is a concession to him, but it's not a player friendly deal when you're saying you have to hit these milestones, when those milestones aren't related to passing yards, completion percentage, something that a lot of the other structured contracts come into, right? Like if you say 15 sacks, like, I know I'm going to achieve this. Once you're starting to leave it up to voters and subjectivity, it's not as good for the player. So if Howard had been able to get something in there that says, okay, 7 INTs, so many passes defensed, something like that, then I'd be more for this. But ultimately, what they're doing is saying, if you want to bet on yourself, we'll happily pay you that extra money because we think we're in a win now mode. And you're only giving these incentives to somebody when you think that you're in competition to actually succeed, right? You're the Falcons, the Jets, the Jaguars aren't giving out these kind of incentive-laden contracts because it's like, okay, you helped us get to 4 wins this season. Fantastic.
Yeah, I hear you. I think it's a very small win-win for both sides. I think for Howard, he gets to quote unquote win his dispute. The $1 million for the Pro Bowl, I hear you. You're kind of leaving it up to chance in a way, but this also got his name in the news quite a bit, and that can't hurt his chances if he has a decent year next year as far as voting goes. So my understanding is this is a likely to be earned incentive, the Pro Bowl.
That only really matters for salary cap purposes.
Right.
That means they have to budget it into their cap now, thinking that it's likely to be earned.
Right. But I mean, I on some level, right, doesn't that tell you that it's highly likely if that's the case?
Fair enough. That they expect to have to shell out this type of money. So short of giving him again, it goes back to protecting the team, right? So they were saying we had to pay him $3.5 million more for him to show up. Okay, well, this 3.5 is contingent on you being a baller again this season. And so it's really no lose for the Dolphins. They get him in-house, which he already was, but they get him to actually show up on the field in-house. And if they were willing to give up that money for that performance anyways, like you said, it is ultimately a win-win. Howard can play this off as a small victory for him. But it just, again, leaves a lot more risk for the player than the organization.
Totally. But the point is, he had almost no leverage. And we go back to like the Rodgers deal. He had 3 years left on his deal, and how hard that makes it for him to I guess push his demands. But when you have that many years remaining on a contract, and then you're already looking to rip it up, it's tough. It's tough, and it doesn't mean he's wrong in what he wanted, but it's just a tough ask ultimately, tough thing to push forward. So I think minor win-win for both sides, but like you said, we'll probably be back here next year as well,
Yeah.
right?
Well, it's just the players are in a tough place. This is the same thing that Danielle Hunter went through, where he signed a monster extension, or he signed another deal because it's money you've never had before, right? You
Right.
wanna secure it while you can, and you hope that you're going to outplay your contract, but there's no guarantee. So you take the risk, and then when you become the one of the best at your position 1-2 years after signing that deal, it's no longer as satisfying. You're like, I took this money because it was the sure thing, but now
Right.
where is the loyalty from the organization to actually reward me for what I've achieved, what I've been able to give them?
Yeah, but you see, it's easy to see both sides, I think, too, where it's like, well, you signed a deal and you should honor your side of it. And I understand in really extreme examples where that's, the team should do good by somebody. This was one where I don't think the Dolphins really had to. I
No,
mean,
not at all.
yeah, they gave him a little bit of assurances, but ultimately, he if he's going to be doing this again next off season, I think we're probably looking at a trade at that point, right?
If he's doing this again next off season, then the Dolphins had a hell of a year.
Yeah. Yes, you're probably right.